there, and welcome to another episode of Temporary Australians. What's coming up on the show today?
We're going for a ride with the Ducatista.
Ducatista?
It's about 200 Ducatis, get together, have a cuppa, and then go for a ride to the Ducati Owners Concourse at the Royal Rehab at Ride.
The Royal Rehab at Ride on the Ducatista?
Mate, they look after fallen riders and do a great job. Absolutely.
Well, it feels like I've fallen into a Dr. Seuss novel.
You
also
have.
coming up on the show today,
Jonesy catches up with blind rider Ben Felton. Mark Drew reflects on his Top Fuel Championship win. We find out how Americans reacted to this year's Black Dog ride in the US. We learn what it takes to be a far rider and find out why motorcycling is safer these days. It's early on a Sunday morning over here at Rose Bay on Sydney's Harbour, and guess what I found? A whole bunch of Ducatis going for a ride. Tell us about Ducatista, mate.
We started about a year ago. We originally started as a social media sort of group, and it evolved into an official club. And we have over 900 members online and about 300 paid up members. The newest, sexiest club in Australia, I would say.
Only for Ducatis, though?
Yeah, look, we've got to stay focused on Ducatis, I mean, that's the point of it. But a lot of people have joined up with other bikes and have converted to Ducatis. So yeah, it's Ducati focused, yeah.
Is this the biggest event you have during the year?
It is at the moment. We do have other bigger events planned in the pipeline. But yeah, at the moment, yeah, we expect about 250 bikes here today, yeah.
That's a pretty big turnout. You guys have the rep of just wanting to go fast somewhere, but this is more for you.
Yeah, look, we're trying to steer away from that perception completely. And you know, these guys, they come along here often, like every Sunday or Saturday rather, and they come along and they literally sit around and talk for hours, you know, sip on their lattes. I don't make them sound like they're softies, but
I wouldn't suggest that, no.
No, but it's not about just riding fast. I mean, the club, we promote a lot of things like, you know, safe riding. We even do like rider training days and things like that, where we, you know, book whole groups, and we really do want to promote that, yeah.
It draws like-minded people, you know, so we've all got the same passion, which is just to ride, meet up. Sometimes it's just a social thing, but generally it's a nice big ride organised with nice people, making new friends, and yeah, actually, I mean, I've made some really good friends in this club.
Now tell us about the ride today.
It's only a 30k trip over to Ride, where New South Wales Ducati Owners Club are having their concourse, and we'll all arrive in like a big procession there and create a bit of havoc. So the ride is for charity, and we're raising money for the same cause as what the other clubs raising money for, and that's the Royal Rehab. So that's for mainly for people who've had spinal and brain injuries, and yeah, so we're putting it all towards the same fund.
Going from Rose Bay over to Ride, it's likely that the traffic lights are going to break everybody up. Do you have difficulty keeping a pack this big together?
We learned a lot last year. This was our first event last year, and we've got traffic marshals in the group to help everyone keep together.
Well, the tunnel should be a hoot with all that Ducati noise echoing.
There's nothing like around about 250 termies ringing your ears, and it's going to be thundering, let's just call it that. So yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely incredible, and I think all these guys want to hear it. So yeah, that's half of what we're here for today.
Fraser Motorcycle City opened up in William Street, and what we did was there was a group which we signed up under Fraser Motorcycle City, which is Ducatista, and we worked together. We organised a ride. Last year was about 130, 140 people. This year I think it was about 200 people, and we raised over, I think it was just over $3,000 just for prize giveaways and the entry over there.
Now what happens at the concourse at the other end?
It's basically a Ducati festival. What's great is the two clubs work in tandem quite well, and we bring quite a big crowd to their particular event too. So last year I think the attendance basically doubled when we rocked up. So it's going to be electric over there. It's going to be fantastic, yeah.
a Hayabusa, it is said, can travel 320 kilometres per hour. Think about that for a minute. Then imagine, say, travelling upwards of 260 kilometres per hour, closing your eyes. Okay, just do that. Close your eyes and just think about that. You wouldn't do it. That's crazy. What if I said to you, riding a Hayabusa at close to 270 kilometres per hour and you can't see it all? You're blind. Ben Felton is going to do that. Ben, how are you?
Excellent, Jonesy. How are you?
Ben, there are so many questions. Firstly, How do you do it? How does it happen?
Right, so I'm riding the bike. I wear a blindfold and I have 2 chase riders, and we use radio communication. So my navigator, Glenn's one of them, they're giving me verbal directions as I'm riding the bike down the runway.
Why are you wearing a blindfold?
Well, because it's actually any person can do it. The record is a Guinness World Record. It's called the fastest motorcycle ridden blindfolded. So Jonesy, you could even have a go if you want one day.
Mate, if you see me ride normally, I need all the help I can get. So I imagine that with Glenn, you're Ben's wingman, as it were. I'd imagine that you'd be sitting behind him on the bike.
No, separate bikes. We've got 3 bikes all up. Just slightly behind him to the left, and the other guy's further back behind him on to the right. And normally try and use the horns if he's going off track too much, but normally it's just communication through the helmets.
So what speed have we got up to, Ben?
During practice, we're consistently doing over 250 kilometres an hour. One of the issues we had is once you go at that speed, the wind noise is just incredibly loud, and I just couldn't hear anymore. So when you're doing 250 and you can't hear directions anymore, you just have a tendency to back off a little bit.
Do you want to take my wife? Because you can hear her over everything, always issuing direction. So how close are you to it? What have we got up to?
Well, as I said, we consistently did 250 kilometres an hour during practice, during the land speed record attempt. We know that the bike can do it. I'm comfortable at doing that. We just need to improve our radio communication a little bit more. But also we're actually going to attempt the record on Salt Lake, because the runway has a camber, 3-degree camber on it. And that makes it really difficult to keep the bike in a nice straight line. So
you've got Orson, your assistance dog, here as well. So does Orson have to get on the back as well?
No, he gets a bit scared when he's on the back, but he's quite happy to sit back with the crowd.
He gets a bit scared when he's on the back. So the poor dog's sitting there going, what are you doing? I didn't sign up for this.
He loves it. He loves the sound of the engines and the smell of the fuel, and he's just a part of it all.
We'll have to ask Orson. Excuse me, Orson, do you like getting on the back of the bike? He's exercising the 5th. Well, good luck to you, Ben.
Excellent, Jonesy.
Glenn, stay safe.
Well, I'm over here at Perth Harley Davidson talking to Mark Drew. He's the fastest man in top fuel motorcycle drag racing for the last 2 years. Mark, congratulations, 2 championships in a row.
Yeah, thanks very much, Greg. Yeah, what can I say? Hopefully we can make it 3.
We're very proud of Mark, and we're more than happy to sponsor him in Wildcard, and look to have the fastest nitro Harley in the country as a #1 dealer. You can't go wrong with that.
Well, it's certainly going quick, and his hopes to be able to break the world record in the not too distant future. I think that's going to raise his profile and Perth Harley Davidson as well.
Absolutely. Look, Mark, I think it's just getting a new clutch set up in his bike, and hopefully in the first few meetings we might get some world record times.
Drew's done some really good things with his drag bike, and it's proud to have him associated with the dealership here.
Well, we've run 235 mile an hour, and there's probably only a handful of people in the world that have done that. We run 634, and probably the world record stands around 620, so we're not far off of that. I've got a new clutch system coming this season that hopefully will make it a little bit better, and I'm sending data back and forward to America to get it going the best we can.
It's very different from a bike that most people would ride on the roads.
The bike's got more horsepower than the track can ever handle, so you got to always pull your horsepower down to where the track is.
So does that mean if you had a track that was ideal, you could beat the world record over here?
Yeah, but I have to have the right setup. I'm close. There's just a little bit more trial and error to try a few different things. Yeah, the track's killer. Well, yeah, it makes it a lot easier, that's for sure.
I understand that braking becomes an issue too. Once you've finished the race, you've set yours up differently to some of the other bikes.
If you didn't brake, it'd probably take about 5 seconds if you're in the sand. So you got to get on the brake straight away. So I got my back brake on the left-hand side, so I don't have to worry about shutting off before I grab the brake, sort of thing. And yeah, we seem to pull up all right without a parachute.
Without a parachute, boy, that must mean everything's got to be timed exactly right then if you're going to stop.
Yeah, pretty well. That's half the fun, trying to stop. We're the fastest in Australia or outside of America. We're the only ones that don't run a parachute.
Is there any particular reason that you don't?
Oh, it's more fun trying to stop.
Now, the Black Dog Ride has been famous in Australia for the last 5 years, not only right into the centre of Australia, but around the country. Well, this year was different. They went somewhere entirely different, the United States of America. Alan, what was it like?
It was absolutely fantastic. It was something I've always wanted to do. It was on my bucket list for many years. And when the opportunity came up to do it with a group, and especially being such a worthy cause, I jumped at it. The whole trip was 21 days. We left from downtown New York City from Broadway under a police escort, which was pretty wonderful, being able to run all those red lights and not get into trouble. The thing that really impressed me about the whole trip was the Americans who really put out their hands to us and were really, really appreciative of what we were doing, because they have a huge problem, as we do here and I think the whole world. And it's an incredible thing. Something like, I think it's 10,000 vets alone a year take their own lives. It's just it's a horrible thing. But people came up to us, just on the street, and they would say, look, I suffer from depression. I've tried to take my own life 3 times. What you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic. And coming all the way from Australia to do it, God bless you and all that sort of thing. They were very, very supportive. They could not have been nicer.
What was the organisers feeling about how the ride went?
Top shelf. It was really, really good. Steve Andrews, who ran the whole thing, he was absolutely wrapped in it. We set a very high target in fundraising. I think we've fallen a little bit short of that, but we did raise a fair bit. But I think the biggest thing was the number of people who we reached out to and got our message across to is probably more important than the actual dollars earned.
Far Riders are a group of like-minded motorcyclists that like to do that long day trip, and the minimum's 1,000 k's in 24 hours. We usually ride to eat somewhere like 500 k's there in the morning, 500 k's home.
What's the longest you've done?
Me personally, 2,500 k's in 24 hours.
So that's effectively you just riding, fueling.
Yeah, and you've got to manage your fatigue and whatnot. So you've got to stop for your sleeps and your fueling, your feeding, all that sort of stuff. So it's a fair bit goes in it. You've got to plan your route. You've got to make sure you hit your 24-hour servos without running out of fuel.
Do you have a problem at night, riding at night here with kangaroos and wombats and so on the roads?
You certainly do. The wildlife's an issue. Yeah, well, this bike's hit, I think we've taken 2 kangaroos and numerous rabbits and a couple of foxes, I think.
Well, I've noticed with some of the footage you shot at night in infrared,
Yep.
that it makes it easier to see, at least on camera,
Yep.
the kangaroos hopping across the road. But do you have night vision goggles that you wear to help?
I run a 7-inch monitor on the front of the bike, so I've got a thermal imaging camera, a FLIR camera, and that will pick up cattle, like on a straight road. That'll pick up cattle at probably 800 metres. I was coming up to a truck, he was on low beam, I was on low beam. And without that camera, the cow that ran across the road, I wouldn't have seen him. No hope in hell. Like, you don't see cattle.
Sounds like you really enjoy the challenge of all this.
Oh yeah, you do. I have a problem in the first probably 400 or 500 k's where I want to get off the bike, I want to go home. But after that, once you can get yourself through that, then it's quite a challenge. There's a lot in it. Yep.
Down here in Victoria, from time to time you get some of the authorities saying negative things about motorcycling. And I guess this year has been no different. There have been noises that people think motorcycling is dangerous, but in fact it's much safer now.
The statistics have been on a steady decline. So the number of riders that are being injured or being killed is an important statistic, but that has been reducing for the last 10 to 15 years. The number of bikes and the number of fatalities back in 1989 or 85 when the statistics began, compared to today, a quarter. It's fantastic.
If you're going to be riding and you want to do it safely, you've got to learn to anticipate what drivers are going to expect the worst.
That's right, and whilst the almost 400,000 licensed motorcyclists in Victoria are fairly disparate, they are in their groups, their social groups and riding groups, And the more experienced riders in those groups are sharing their information. So that's helping the whole network of riders actually ride more safely because the experiences are being shared. And I think that's one of the primary reasons that the numbers have dived down and why riders are riding more safely.
Why do you find from time to time that you get this sort of criticism of motorcycling and its safety values when in fact it's getting better?
Because it's not as safe as being inside a cage with air curtains, crumple zones, side impact intrusion systems and all the works. We are an exposed road user. The only thing we have to keep us safe is what's between our ears. Every road injury or road fatality, the philosophy is it must be avoided at all costs. And it is more difficult to achieve that on a motorbike. But we are making massive inroads.
Vinny, tell us about the Concourse.
This has been going for over 35 years. Basically what we try to do is get as many Ducatis here in all their various categories for judging, but the main thing about Concourse is to raise funds for the Royal Rehabilitation Spinal and Brain Unit here at the wonderful Royal Ride.
You seem to have a really good reputation as far as charity work. Has this been a long-standing arrangement with the Royal Rehab?
It certainly has. We've been doing this for 39 years. Next year is our 40th birthday, and we've raised over $600,000 in that period.
Dr. King, what's your impression of the Ducati Owners Club Concours?
Well, it's an annual event that's held here. Royal Rehab Centre's been very happy to have the concourse here every year. It's fantastic to have the support of the Ducati Owners Club and the Ducatistas recently. You know, they've been great. It really is very supportive of the work we're doing at the rehab centre.
We used to sponsor the whole event years ago, but the event has taken its own shape from young to old. Okay, that's bikes.
I thought you meant people.
No, just bikes. But no, it's everyone sharing the Ducati passion.
Talking to Victor Dominello, he's the Minister for Ducati, I believe.
Well, today I am, absolutely, and what a proud minister I am seeing all these wonderful, beastly machines drive up the driveway here.
Yeah, they've got a great reputation, the Ducati people, of what they do for charity and the fun they have riding their bikes.
Well, I could see the smiles as they were driving up the driveway and they took the helmets off. There was this lady that was a passenger and she couldn't get the grin off her face. And yes, indeed, they've been here with Royal Rehab for about 33 years, so it's fantastic.
How does the Royal Rehab view the Ducati Owners Club?
Oh, they are so supportive. They love us. They absolutely love us. You'll see during the day an awful lot of the people that are in here will come out in their wheelchairs and they'll come and have a good look around. In there you'll see a wall of fame, which I highly recommend you have a look at. Some of our riders have had serious mishaps. They've come through their program and they're back on a bike.
We're very pleased to have the support of the Ducati Owners Club because it's just a sign that the work that we do here is valued. We get to see some of the guys who've gone through rehab come back, you know. There's a couple of guys out there working, judges and things who've had falls, gone through their rehab, got back into it. You know, it's just a fantastic event.
Nigel, how does it feel to be back on the bike?
Absolutely fantastic. I did try to give up for about a year after my accident and I just wasn't living, and I thought I could live to be 100 watching TV or I can go back to my true love, which is motorcycling. I tell everyone I'm never as alive as when I'm on my motorcycle. So I just love riding.
How serious was your spill?
Well, I ended up in Royal Rehab for quite some time, getting over I had a traumatic brain injury. It took me a long time to get over that, and I've had a total change of lifestyle. I've changed my career, and you know, just life is different, but you know, it's okay. And they really helped me here at Royal Rehab. Helped me get back on track, and I'm really happy with the way things are going for me.
And you've had a lot of support from the Ducati Owners Club?
The Ducati Owners Club have always been a fantastic club to be involved with, and I've really keen to get back to joining them. I've rejoined them a couple of years ago now, and it's just fantastic to be part of that great club again.
The best thing I've found by being with the Ducati Owners Club is the friendship. We're a family. We're one great big family. It's a worldwide group, the Ducati Owners Clubs. We're a part of that. So we get support from Italy. We had some people over from the US a little bit earlier on. We're a family.
What a gamut of Ducatis at Ducatista.
Huge, mate. Huge number of bikes.
It's incredibly satisfying to say Ducatista.
It is.
No, you're not saying it. Ducatista.
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 Took me a year.
A year to work that out.
A year to learn it, yeah.
Look, he's been saying it all his life. He knows. We'll be back again next week for another episode of Temporary Australians. If you want to find out some more details, go to our website, temporaryaustralians.com.au. Until then, shiny side up.
See ya.
Ducatista.